Karen's attempts to intimidate and control reached a shocking extreme when the HOA tried to wall off my ranch. Their plan was audacious: construct barriers, block access, and create the illusion that they could control my land. What they didn't realize was that I was not just a landowner. I was a judge with the authority, knowledge, and legal backing to shut them down completely. Their arrogance was about to meet its inevitable downfall. It began early one morning when construction vehicles arrived at the perimeter, preparing to install walls and gates along the property line. Karen and her HOA allies supervised, confident that they could intimidate me into submission. The dust swirled as trucks carried steel beams, concrete mixers churned, and workers began erecting barriers on what they imagined was contested territory. My security cameras captured everything, each movement documented in real time. I arrived on the scene calmly, observing the chaos. Karen, perched on a bulldozer, waved at me as if I were an interloper. "This is for the safety of the community," she shouted, trying to justify their actions. I shook my head slowly, knowing the extent of the legal leverage I had. "You are trespassing. This construction is illegal, and any further work will be met with immediate legal action." Her smug confidence wavered slightly, but she pressed on, believing her HOA authority would protect her. That was her first mistake. I activated my legal protocols. Recorded notices were delivered, authorities were contacted, and a detailed timeline of violations was compiled. Every document, photograph, and video clip strengthened the case that the HOA's actions were unlawful. As the first walls began to rise, I stepped forward and presented the workers and officers with the official property maps, deeds, and court orders that clearly defined my ownership. Karen's protests were drowned out by the undeniable truth. The land was mine, fully documented, and protected by law. Her attempts to intimidate or assert control were now evidence of reckless trespass and harassment. The officers quickly intervened, halting construction and citing multiple legal violations. Karen's expressions shifted from arrogance to panic as the consequences of her audacity became clear. Workers abandoned their equipment, and the construction vehicles were ordered off the property. Every action taken by the HOA was now meticulously recorded for legal proceedings. By mid-afternoon, the attempted walling of my ranch had been completely stopped. Karen's plan to create barriers and exert control had backfired spectacularly. Her arrogance had been met with preparation, authority, and legal precision. My property, once threatened, was fully secure, and the HOA faced potential lawsuits for trespassing, harassment, and unlawful construction. I walked along the edge of the property that evening, inspecting the boundaries. The land was calm, unbroken, and fully under my control. Karen's audacious attempt to intimidate me had failed in every conceivable way. The lesson was undeniable. Arrogance, audacity, and reckless planning have consequences, especially when faced with preparation, law, and authority. As the sun set across my 12,000-acre ranch, I reflected on the day. Karen had underestimated me, underestimated the law, and underestimated the inevitability of justice. The ranch remained untouchable, my authority absolute, and the boundaries of my property fully respected. Any further attempts to challenge, intimidate, or manipulate would be met with the same decisive, inevitable consequences. That night, the land was quiet, the walls remained unbuilt, and the ranch stood as a fortress of preparation, authority, and law. Karen's audacity had failed spectacularly, yet again, reaffirming a truth that would echo across every acre of my property. Ownership, knowledge, and vigilance will always triumph over arrogance and reckless ambition.